What's going on today? I've got a 2017 Chevy Caprice police pursuit vehicle. This is a legit cop car. It was towed in, will not start. Just endlessly cranks. Not even trying to start. So we're going to start where we always start, checking codes. Quick code scan. I've got an ECM P069E fuel pump flow control module has requested mil. That's not really something to worry about, but we will worry about the chassis control module P023F fuel pump control circuit set as current. Well, I think that would obviously cause a no start, so let's look into that. First thing I would probably do is go study the fuel pump wiring schematic related to the chassis control module so that I can understand how it all works. Okay, so here's the wiring schematic for the fuel pump. Pretty simple. Chassis control module is powering the fuel pump. It is also supplying the ground. So power and ground is supplied by the module. What is not shown on this diagram is that the engine control module communicates the desired fuel pressure to the chassis control module, and the chassis control module just does what it's told. So the easiest way to diagnose this would be to disconnect the fuel pump and put a test light across those wires. If it lights, great. We know that the chassis control module and all the wiring's good, and we would have a faulty fuel pump. What I'm going to show you in a second and on this car is that the fuel pump is not actually accessible very easily without a lot of work. So I'm going to have to do all of my testing right here at the X315 connector. Also did a quick visual inspection under the hood, found coolant level low. Radiator's just barely got a little bit of a seep. You can see just a little bit of staining there. I don't think it's leaking bad enough to be the cause of the low coolant level, but I did notice that. Check this out. Here's another thing I found. Somebody just did front brakes on this cop car. There's the OEM bolt. That's a 10.9 rated, and they've replaced this bolt with an 8.8 rated. So this bolt is underrated for the application, and this is actually a serious safety hazard. So I have put in the recommendation to replace those bolts. Here's a view of the saddle style fuel tank. Notice how the rear propeller shaft and exhaust system kind of goes through the middle of it. So to take that fuel tank down and do some testing at the pump would be a lot of work. So we're gonna have to come up with a better way to do it. So again, it's gonna be a lot of work to take that tank out, but right here is the X315 connector on the schematic. So I think I can just do all of my testing here and confirm whether the chassis control module is sending power and ground to the pump or not. Okay, check it out. I disconnected the X315 connector and I've installed a headlamp bulb across the power and ground circuits for the fuel pump. And the reason I'm using a headlamp bulb is because I want to verify that these big fat wires are actually able to pull a load, and this draws about 7 amps. So I know it's a pretty good load test on the module and the wiring. So if this light lights, we know that it's going to be a faulty fuel pump. Okay, so check it out. If that light lights, we know that the module and the wiring is okay. So now that confirms that it is worth all the trouble to take the tank out. Had to drop the exhaust all as one unit. That sure would have sucked to do at home. Had to lower the rear subframe axle assembly with the jack here. I've got the fuel tank supported with this jack, and I'm only lowering it down just enough because it looks like it'll be a real pain to get back in there. I did end up unbolting the canister up here to give myself some more room because these pipes up here were being very difficult to disconnect, as well as there's wiring harness running up there. And imagine how easy it is to get back there. It's not. You know, another thing is that this gas tank is absolutely full to the rim, good and full. So when I open this up to take the fuel tank or the fuel pump out, it's probably going to make an enormous mess of stinky gasoline. So give me a second and I'll get this out and we'll see what it looks like. Check that out. Inside that fuel pump connector, it's got a melted terminal. So it means that I also need to replace this connector too. So hopefully we have that. Little burnt connector there. So not only is it burnt, but it looks like, why did it get burnt? Look, it's not even fully inserted. If you look at the back of the connector, the seal's popping out. probably pull on that and just pull it right out. Yeah, you can see it's loose. It did move. So it may have been like that for a very long time until that caused the connector to melt. So here's our faulty wiring harness with the burnt connector there. To get this piece, you have to get the whole unit. There's the part number for our sub harness. I'm now gonna go reassemble everything, put it back together. We're gonna start this car up and we're gonna be good because they are dying to have this car back. Okay, let's see. This is the first key up. I'm gonna let it prime. Maybe shut it back off, hit it again. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, even the lights are going. Look at that. Might have to see about that check-in light though. Don't know what that's about. Let's go ahead and see what we got here. Looks like some residual codes from earlier, so I think I'm gonna erase these and we're gonna be good. Of course, we'll have to shut the key off and turn the key back on to do that. Yep, that looks like that took care of everything, so that's all I've got. Thanks for watching.